All right, welcome to Capitalism Lab, brought to you by GameCenter.com, GameCTR.com. And in this video, I'm going to do a gameplay kind of review, a let's play of Capitalism Lab. So I'm going to play the game, and along the way, I'm going to explain what I like, don't like about it, and the mechanisms of the game. So it should be kind of fun, as well as kind of help you decide if this is maybe a game you'd be interested in. So there's all these other options that are standard in the game, but we're just going to go ahead and start making a new game. There is a great tutorial. If you hit tutorial, I might have already done some, but it'll start here with tutorial 1, and you can go through, and I would highly encourage you, if you get this game and you play it, go through these tutorials. They're really well designed. They introduce you to the game well, and they create a lot of different scenarios for you to kind of introduce you to it. So you start out with budding entrepreneur, introduces you to the game. You learn about retail, you learn about manufacturing, you learn about branding, you learn about the stock market, learn about agriculture. Now we're going to learn about all that stuff when I play through the game, but their tutorials are good, so I would encourage you to play them. We're going to go ahead and do a custom game, and when you start a custom game, it lets you here name your corporation. So I can come in here and we'll call this GameCenter.com. And I'll use my name, Greg, and I can pick a different color and a portrait, obviously. The difficulty level is what we're most concerned about here, and we can set it anywhere from 1 to 8, and it has a percentage kind of here. Now a little description for these kind of pre-canned difficulty levels. So it'll tell you here, insanely difficult, not enjoyable unless you have achieved mastery with the game. So this will probably be about as hard as you could really play it. It claims that 8 is unwinnable. It's just basically humanly impossible. But what will happen is as you choose these presets, it's going to change here under environment and competitors, and the imports as well, I think, what these options are. So for example, you'll notice that this level has 10 competitors. It's moderate competitor startup capital. You got 4 cities, and your capital startup's moderate. But if I go back here and change this to 1, then I have only 4 competitors. They have low startup capital. So basically just these are presets that change this. This lets you get really customized if you want to come up with a particular difficulty level. And then finally, the imports, just to explain them a little bit. This is important because this tells you what comes into the city that you don't have to get from your competitors or make yourself. So this is kind of like consumer goods that are going to be coming in, and if you have for each of these seaports, you're going to have 4 products available. So if there's 3 seaports, you're going to have 12 consumer goods, and in this case 12 industrial goods. And then just their import quality. Obviously, it's going to make it a bit easier game if you have import quality that's high, because you're going to be able to sell that against your local competitors in the game. Now, finally, you have your goals, and this is a really cool part of the simulation where it lets you decide exactly how everything fits together and what the win conditions are. So you can have a certain amount of wealth, and you can have annual, revenue you have to make. You have different values over here for a number of employees, your ownership, your stock price. So you can set all these win conditions, as well as dominating a certain industry. So I could say, in order to win, I have to dominate the farming industry or the media industry, real estate, and so forth. And the same with products. You have all these different product categories, like tobacco, sports, snacks, photography, leather goods. So you have all these different categories, and if you add them, then these basically become win conditions. So in this case, I'd have to dominate the automobile, the communication devices, and the cosmetic industries, which, that would be actually a pretty challenging scenario just by itself if you had real competitive players in this, because they're such diverse industries. You wouldn't have a lot of synergy between, for example, automobiles and cosmetics. But I'm going to remove all these, and we're going to start with just a simple game that lets us play the simulation. You can see how it fits together, and we'll just do it on this first difficulty level, but we are going to customize it just a little bit by going down here to retail store type. And notice it's set on 1, But notice how it says if you choose mini, then you have specialty stores, supermarkets, furniture stores, you get computer stores, drug stores, all these different kinds of stores. And I think it takes away a little bit too much from the game for how much more difficult it is to have just department stores and have everything just sold out of one store. So I'm going to go ahead and change this over to mini. And you'll notice if I go here and look at this difficulty level, by changing it to mini, it's showing you the different percentage here. So they have a formula that's going through all these different variables describing the scenario to determine, what that difficulty level is. But I think we're ready to start. We're going to get started, and we'll play a little Capitalism Lab. So it's a quick startup kind of game, and one of the first things you'll probably want to do when you play this game when you very first start it is over here is the game speed, and you can use a hotkey, to set it to 1, but you can also set it to 0 to pause the thing. And you'll know when I hit pause, all the little cars stop driving around, and the game's actually paused, so no time's going by. And you'll see that already 10 days have gone die down here on the lower middle of the screen. We have the current game date is January 10th of 2000. We can see we're starting with 100 million in cash. So we're not a small little tiny company starting out of the gate here. It's a pretty good sized company. Got 100 million in startup capital. We of course don't have any profit. And if I can use my mouse key to zoom out and zoom in, and up here in the top right, let's take a look at this HUD up here. You'll notice that we have a city name, and if I can use this little mini map if I click up here to move around. So this is basically one city, and if I hit this arrow, I get to a second city, and it's the same kind of thing. It's just basically roads and buildings. And then if I click this arrow again, now I'm back in the first city. So we've only got 2 cities. Obviously, if you had more cities, you'd have to arrow through them up here. So how do you get started in a game like this? What's the purpose? Well, what we want to do is we want to build a business that's going to be profitable and take advantage of the market. And we've got all, we can build anywhere pretty much, except where there's these big buildings. And you'll notice if we mouse over stuff, it'll tell us a little bit about it. We can see this is owned by the government. We can mouse over this one, also owned by the government. If this is City Hall. So, they're more there for aesthetics. I don't want you to think that like a lot of these things like really play a big role in the simulation, but it does play a bit of a role where you place things when you're in the retail operations. And so we're going to begin by just selling a product that we can get from one of the seaports. And so you'll notice here if I click in this mini map where I move my mouse here, these are our seaports. So if I click on one of these seaports, you'll notice that this seaport is selling beds, it's selling chocolate bars, it's selling leather belts, and it's selling leather bags. So we got these 4 products right here that are coming into this seaport. And I can right click to get out of that. And I can click on this seaport now and see that this seaport has, golf clubs, canned corn, cameras, and frozen beef. Now, if we had specific scenarios and objectives we really needed to meet, we'd have to really plan exactly which products we were going to sell. And if we're playing in a real competitive market with lots of competitors, we'd have to really look at what market share, and who has what. And you'll notice that the market share is completely white here because I paused the simulation and basically none of the competitors, the 4 competitors, have had a chance to build their factories yet or build department stores or anything. So they're not selling anything. And so think of this market share as local market, meaning that it's not that there's no available frozen beef or no available cameras or any of this stuff. They're out there, they're being sold, but they're sold by local competitors in the market. And the price you can see here is at $37.60, $1.54, $1.92. And we can also see down here basically what our brand is. Okay, so this is our brand is 0. because, and I shouldn't say our brand, but I should say, yeah, I guess this would be our brand. This is anything that we would have uh, associated with this, and that's why it's all zero. And but this is the quality that's coming in from the seaport. So we got a 75 quality coming in, and we got a price of $1.44. But if you look at the market, they have brand a 7 because it's the local market, but their quality is only 10. And look at the price, it's 485. So you can see that the overall rating here of this imported product is considerably better than what the local market is. And you'll see that each product has its own ratings here, but the result's the same. You can see that this imported goods is significantly better than the local goods. And so this fundamental part of this simulation of the way it's configured now is going to allow us to quickly come into this local market and sell these products and make money doing it, because look at the difference in price that's availability here, 99. Now, once we get it to retail, we're going to have overhead. It's not going to be quite as good as this, and you'll see that. So let's sell some of these products. We're ready to do that. And all we have to do to begin selling is we got to find a place to open our store. And most likely the best places are going to be, here by, the amusement parks, the stadiums, where there's going to be consumer traffic. But we click this build menu up here in the top left, and we can click build a retail store. And it's interesting, it's just saying department store there, because I thought I had set the simulation to multiple store types. Okay, so it looks like maybe I didn't, but we're going to go ahead anyway because we're already here, and it won't change the simulation that much. You'll see as I go to build, it turns yellow where I can build. And if I can't build somewhere like over a road, it'll turn gray. I can't build like over City Hall. They're not going to build there, but I could put it here. Now notice probably the most important thing, if I move around, you'll notice in that top left corner the consumer traffic index. So it's actually giving me an index of where I put this. It makes it real clear as to how much traffic you're going to get there. So this looks like a really nice place for a department store. But also look at the building cost versus the land cost. So I'm having to pay $1 million for the building cost. That's static. It's a fixed cost. But that land cost varies depending on the value of the land. So it's 16 million to build here. I could build over here for only 9 million. I could build over here for 9.6. If I go way out here, it's not that much cheaper out here. So obviously you get a diminishing returns, but you can see land value varies where you're at. So, my conclusion always is probably it's best to spend the money to get the best land, because look at the difference. You have a consumer traffic of 42, only 15 here. Now, in this simulation, what I'm going to be honest about, though, is that a lot of times you're not going to be able to sell all that demand anyway. In other words, this might have a consumer traffic index of 42, but I might make just as much money right here, because the store itself will never be able to meet that demand. Even if I flood it with products, the retail staff themselves, unless I'm just selling one product possibly, or two products, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and pick that spot just so we can get maximum demand, see what we get. We got $100 million. So I clicked and I built that factory. Now, when you build a factory, the earlier capitalism, you always had to build everything by hand to set up your factory or your stores. But now they've had this little plus button. So I'm going to go ahead and use this for our first product. And I'm going to click this plus to say add a new product. And it's going to automatically find all the suppliers of products that are available. And you'll notice there's the bed and the camera and the canned corn. All this from those the seaports that we looked at earlier. And I can go up here and filter this and say just show what's in the seaports, which now that's all there is. But now, as you can see our competitors here, I can actually go and see what products they're selling. And because I stopped the game, they're not selling anything. So this is where we'd see our competitors' products. This is the products we're going to be making. And then, of course, only suppliers we really got now are the seaports. But let's just start at the very top because we have no competition here. We really don't have any objectives to speak of. So we might as well just start grabbing up these products and start selling them. I'm going to sell this bed. And notice what happened when I did this is it put a purchasing department here to purchase the beds. And then that feeds in with this line into the sales department to sell them. Now, because the simulation is paused, I haven't actually purchased them yet, but I can see that it's going to cost me $136 to buy it and then $33.87 in freight to get it here. So it calculates freight, based on a distance, you know, and then I can see the quality coming in. And it's automatically linked the supplier for me here, but I could go and actually see and click supplier, and it shows that it's the seaport in Durban. It shows the distance, so it is a long distance. That's why we're paying freight, and we can see we have plenty of supply and the price there. And I could actually go to the supplier, but there's no need. And let's go ahead and now let the simulation move along a little bit. Um, Let me right click and just go here, and we'll let the simulation play. And if I click on my department store, we'll see that now we are actually selling beds. And this little line shows that the purchasing comes into our sales department. Our sales department now is actually selling these beds, and we can see the days. Click and buy. We're the third day of sales here, and we can see our profit. And we're not making money yet, but we probably will turn a profit even just selling these beds. Look at our demand is here in orange, and yellow is our supply. So we're not even close to being able to meet the demand for beds. I'm going to go ahead and hit plus and add some cameras. Hit plus again and add the corn. And hit plus again and grab the chocolate bars. Okay, so now notice what it did. It automatically laid it out where we have a purchase bed and then we sell the beds. We purchase the camera and then we sell the cameras. We purchase chocolate bars, we sell them. We purchase the canned corn and we sell the canned corn. So this is a full department store. Every department store, or any store for that matter, it's all the same. You can sell 4 products in them at the most because you got to purchase and sell. Now you could, for example, if you wanted to, we could sell more beds by doing this. We could take sales and take the purchasing from the beds and actually send them here like that. Then you'll notice that what'll start to happen is we'll be able to see our supply of beds go up because, and I'm going to show you how this works. Notice this bar here at the very bottom. This bar right here is our capacity for this department. And notice how the purchasing department is only at half capacity. Meanwhile, our sales department is at full capacity. That's this brown bar down here. So the purchasing department is starting to, you can see the capacity is going up on the purchasing department down here because we're feeding 2 sales departments. Whereas the other ones, like the canned corn purchasing department, it doesn't have nearly as much capacity pushed upon it. But what this means is we're selling more beds, and we can see our market share here now starting to grow. So here, the local competitors are starting to lose market share to us as we're selling into the market. Now, it's important to take the time to understand, and we could grow the company and keep repeating over and over, but I'm going to explain all these bars and how all this works. Is that right here, this yellow, as you can see, is our supply, and what this is able to push out. This is our demand, and it shows for each product. And if I click on each product, it changes down here. So if I'm looking at this, what I'm going to see is that I've got a price of $400, where the city average, they're priced at $553, way up here. And meanwhile, I'm not meeting demand. So what this would tell me from a model perspective, I can also see that despite the fact they have some brand recognition, our quality of beds are much higher than the local quality beds. They've only got a 19 quality. We got 68. And look, our beds are cheaper and they're higher quality. So what does this mean? Well, it means we should maybe raise our price up. Now, this doesn't mean that necessarily this is the long-term strategy, but as I raise my price up, notice how my quality rating is dropping because price is affecting quality. And if I keep moving it and keep raising this up, you'll notice that my quality rating, it keeps dropping. And I'm priced now at 576. I'm priced more than my competitor, but I'm still got a better overall rating, and I'm still not even meeting demand, even with two sales departments working full time as hard as they can. Now, it also means that I've got one department store in the entire city. So obviously, a lot of this might mean that it's just a matter of having more stores in the city to meet the demand. I can't necessarily expect one store to meet all this demand. Um, you'll also notice that our brand is stuck at 0. Why is this? Well, we're not advertising anything. We're not getting the word out about any of these products. We're just now. I think over time it might start moving up for us, just for the fact that we're selling it. But there's a faster way. And what I'm going to do is, oops, I accidentally right click, which right click in this game is get out of everything. So I accidentally right clicked and then I got out of it. Um, but I'm going to go back to my department store and I'm going to click on the sales department, double click on it, and I'm going to just change it over to advertising. And now I don't need to advertise my purchasing department, but I do need to advertise my beds. I want to advertise the cameras, and I want to advertise the chocolate bars. I want to advertise the canned corn. And notice how now these are feeding in this advertising. It's still blank though. Nothing's happening here. So, but we're going to link some media to it, and this media is going to basically advertise our product. And there's some decision making here, but it's pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science. This is the rating points, and they're kind of hard to see when you're selected. So it turns them red when you select them. So I'll point them out down here. It's a little easier to read. We get 39 rating points by spending $2.67 per million views. In this one, we only get up here, we only get 34 rating points for spinning 322. Down here, we only get 16 rating points for spinning 225. So by just basic eyeballing it, I would say probably in this case, we would go with the newspaper publisher in this city. And it's going to default to 100,000 spending per product, which I think is pretty good. And you'll notice down here now, or I should say up here, look how our firm revenue graph has started to go up and our firm profit started to go up. And if we look down here at the bottom, our profit is showing 2,636,953. And you'll notice that this is a operating profit over the past 12 months. This operating profit, this really is the earnings per share. As far as, or I should say overall earnings, but this would be the value that would go actually into calculating earnings per share when we talk about the stock market in the game. But what we have here is both a profitable company and a profitable retail store. Let's go ahead and open up another department store just so you can see. We'll do it a little faster this time. Pick a department store, and there's no reason to put it really elsewhere because we're going to sell different products. And we can just bulldoze over these things. Oh, we get 54 consumer index here. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And we can just go down here now and look at these other products. Let's sell some cookies. And I'm going to go ahead now and set one up from scratch because we've been hitting this plus to add these products and it linked everything up automatically, but you can do it manually. I'm going to do it manually now. Double click, set up a purchasing department and link it. And so let's go down here and link it to the eggs. So we'll sell some eggs. Then we'll double click, create a sales department and link them together. Now you can see it's really fast to do. It's not hard, and this will be, this can be useful. So I'm going to say purchasing again, link it. We'll go down and pick up the frozen beef sales. And the competitors, are obviously very slow because we picked an easier setting. But in a real competitive game where they'd be very aggressive and have a lot of startup capital, and you don't, they would already be jumping all over these products, and in some cases, I think they can even be in the scenarios. They will be seeded where you'll have to unseat competitors that might already, have something, a market already built up in a high brand, and then we'll do the frozen lamb. Now, one of the things that's going to be very important to understand about this game, I'm not going to, in this case, I'm going to do an advertising unit, but I'm only going to advertise the cookies out of instinct. I'm going to go ahead and pick newspaper again because we know they're the best. But the reason is because I have an instinct, and we'll go double check, that eggs, frozen beef, and frozen lamb aren't going to benefit greatly from advertising, and I'm going to explain why that is. But this particular firm is now going to start doing the same thing, purchasing and then selling, and then the cookies are getting advertised. But we're not going to leave the eggs and frozen beef and lamb alone. We're not going to spend our money advertising those. So we've just been kind of building stuff now, but I'm going to take you into some of the data and show you how, kind of like this product summary report. That's this P over here. So we can kind of look at things a little bit. And we're going to find a product, like, for example, bed. I'm going to click on it. And you'll notice that this is what we're looking at right here, this concern. Concern is important in that it tells you what each of these variables play in the overall price, because it's different for every product. A bed is 38% based upon price, 43% is based on quality, and 19% is based on brand. So brand is only 20% of the factor of bed. We probably didn't really need to have to advertise beds that much, because it's not as big a concern. We need to, we want to focus on price and quality, because that's what's going to play into this overall market here. And you'll notice that it's by city. So when I'm clicking on this, which we should have started by, you can tell here that we have 2,800,000 people in the city of Wuhan, but only 1.7 million in Durban. So we should have probably started our department store here, but we didn't. And you'll notice, therefore, there's nobody in this market for beds. But if we click on Durban, you can see that we're starting to grab up market share here. Now, let's go back to product details again by hitting, let's see, how do we get back there? Previous? Looks like it wants to click through them. I guess you could always just do that. No. Okay, I am stuck there. I'm going to have to figure out what that key is to get back. But when we're looking at products, let's go down here to like the eggs and click on that. And you can see the brand is only 13%, and everybody's more concerned about price and quality, right? Oh, it's up here. This is what I was looking for, search product tab. So we could search a product and say, okay, let's look at detergent. And you'll see that brand is 37%. And so if you think about that in at least in what I've seen, is that, yeah, detergents marketed a lot on brand. People buy it because brand's important. Price is also somewhat important, and quality is too, but brand becomes more of a concern. So you're going to want to spend advertising on that. It's just basically these three variables that then, as you change your price, as you change your quality, as you change your brand, is going to affect the overall market value. And obviously, if your overall value is greater than your competitors, then you're going to sell more. It's just as simple as that. So we've seen the retail part of this now by here, and we can see that our demands are still insanely high, and that tweaking these things is something that you could really do. That, see how our overall rating is 43, theirs is 25. There's just no reason really, and if I confirm that, to have such a discrepancy in overall rating. So one of my strategies that I would do is price your product if you can't get enough of it, we're supplying this from a seaport, so this is the most we can get. We have to open up other factories, or I'm sorry, other department stores somewhere. But um, I have a thing, I don't like really negative ratings, but there's no reason why we can't bump this down here and see that we're still going to be able to easily meet. We still can't even meet demand because again our sales department's maxed. Now that brings us to how can our sales department be more efficient? Notice this one up here in the corner. This is like the training level of the department. So I can go down here and start spending training on this in this department store. Now, one of the things is they don't really give you a lot of feedback for how much you're spending on training right here, but I'll show you where you can go to another part of the system and see that. But I'm going to raise it kind of high, and you'll notice, like, actually, I'll raise it all the way. And down here at the very bottom, next to date time, you'll see our graphs of our profits going up, as we've made more and more money as our products are getting into the market. And we have two department stores now, both making money. But what you're going to notice, I'm going to go ahead and hit this arrow over here under the mini map to go to our other department store, and I'm going to crank up the training on it too. We're going to notice that this training cost is going to have a noticeable effect on our profits down here. Okay, so I'm going to right click to get out of that, and then I'm going to go over to our corporate summary here and click on our firms. And so this is just going to give you a little bit, like if I click on our firms here and I look at them all, I can see the lifetime revenue by firm. So we can see the first one we opened here and its profit and its utilization, and the same here for this one as well. So this basically gives us like a overview, by firm. We can also do the same thing as we saw by product details of restricting these kind of things or products. I can like click on it and restrict it to only things we're selling. So this is just our products. Or I could say look at all companies and see here that still we don't really have any other companies that looks like that have jumped in the game yet. They'll have a different color. You can look here in the frozen lamb market. We have a very high percentage because the local quality is so poor and our price is so low. So like, for example, we might want to go to our store here selling this lamb. Look at our market share and our price. We are just so underpriced here. And again, this is just something you would do if you're playing the game, very seriously. Is you don't want to have, you don't want to be selling something for cheaper than your competitors. That's a much, 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 not much, much higher, but a higher quality. Okay, so now I've dropped our quality rating down lower, but look how much more money we're going to be able to make because our profits are higher, and we still can't meet demand. Um, so let's look at more at the corporate stuff. I'm going to go up to our corporations, and we can see each company here. And so what it looks like to me is that the AI is basically not doing anything yet. It's probably something that for in these early levels, they just basically wait for them to start participating because and I don't know, we're just now through the first month, so we could set the speed higher, obviously, and maybe they'd start jumping in. But you can see this guy's starting with 70 million, this guy's starting with 25 million, 15 million, and 21 million, and eventually they'll actually start building stuff. But notice how our operating profit, look at that nosedive it started to take here, and we'll look here and see last month 65,000 in training. And, but we're really just getting started here, and as that training ramps up, I guess it's really not impacting our costs as much as I thought. But it's gonna, that's where our training costs are. This is our advertising money we're spending. It does have some overhead for and salaries, and then of course our cost of sales here. Finally, down, so this is basically then our operating expenses, and it has our increases in asset value. So there is some this increase in asset value, meaning that for whatever reason they're attributing our growth in our department store and our brand and everything that's been associated with this gain. It does add to our assets, and so finally we have our net profit here and our year-to-date profit and our lifetime profit. They also have a balance sheet, so we can see our how much inventory we have, our cash on hand, so forth. Technology we don't really have to worry about right now, but basically what it means is we research products to improve quality and so forth. This is our advertising summary. Our brand strategies can be listed here, which we're not really working with that yet. And we can see that right now we're dominant in the retail market. We've got 100% market share because no one else is selling anything. Um, there's also a lot of cool graphs here. If I hit overview, I can see an overview of my company, our stock price, equity per share, earnings per share, our current PE ratio, and then the total return. We see we have only 2 firms, but list the firms here. I can list all our products. So here, nice little graph that shows all the products. We're making the most money on the beds, which makes sense because we have 2. There probably just even having that 2 selling. For a time being there, we had 2 sales units selling them, and that pushed, as you can see, we're only talking at each product's, a couple of million, 3 million. It was enough to give it a big edge in profit margins. You can see we're not making much in eggs, we're not making much in cookies and these others, but this lets you see where you're making your money in your products. We also have graphs for revenue, and they're not particularly all that useful graphs, to be honest. I'll tell you that about the game, but they're kind of nice to be there, and we can see other things that would be part of this, and we can see who our shareholders are, and you can see a lot of people have been buying up our stocks, and we haven't really been protecting our stocks. We've let our stock price go up without us buying any. But let's go ahead and look at the stock exchange a little bit now. You'll see that it started out really, really low, and now we're at $20 a share, $20.89, and there's our P ratio. No one else even has any profits to earnings ratios. So you can see that from a stock percentage, we're very much beating the competition. And one of the key elements of a lot of business simulations, this one's included, is the way you win is you buy out the other companies. And so we can actually start doing that. We've got $71 million in cash, and we know that some of these companies are not worth all that much. That they've only got, we can see their market caps here: 64 million, 20 million, 12 million, 22 million. So let's go after the one with the least market cap. This guy, Clover Swirl. We can see their public that 45% of the shares are owned by the public. So these are the cheapest shares we can get. These shares we can buy right on the market now. So notice down here, it's already got, when I click on this, it says I can buy 5% at one and a half million here, which at $8.60 a share. So I'm basically going to purchase 5% of these shares. It's going to cost me $623,000. And so what it is that there's 1.5 million shares outstanding. That's what this means. 1.5 million shares outstanding, 675,000 are owned. I want to buy 5% of them at $8.40. That's going to cost me this much money. So I hit buy. And because I've bought 5% of this stock, just like in any other kind of stock simulation, it puts upward pressure on that stock price. So stock jumped from $8.50 to $9.35 because I'm a big buyer. And this is and you can see now I show up on here. I own 75,000 shares, and that's how much they're worth. And as their stock fluctuates, I'm going to participate in that for the better or worse. And so let me go ahead and just buy a couple more, buy another, and buy more, and buy more. And so I own now 20% of this company, 3.7 million. I've got 70 million cash. So I might as well just go ahead. And the reason I'm not buying more is 5% is all you can buy in one transaction. And part of the reason probably is so that they can keep this stock manipulation of the price and having it move up to keep that manageable. Because if you could just buy it all at once, that'd be really hard to make possible. And you can see how this is like really put upward pressure on the stock price now. It's at 14.94. I'm buying them up, and just like in a real world simulation, at this point people probably thinking, yeah, this person's trying to buy this company out. So I'm gonna just go ahead and keep buying and keep buying. And now at this point, I own is all the there's no public shares owned. I own 46% of the company, but I can't buy any more public shares. They're off the market. There's no more. Everybody who owns is either myself, and I own 46%, or this Maggie Grafton, who is the original owner, who owns 45%. So I still don't own enough to take control of the company because all three of these shareholders together own too much. So now what I can do is I can start now trying to buy their shares. I'm going to go after Maggie. See if they're willing to give up some of this 45%. So I make an offer of $1.4 million at $19.82. I'm going to make that offer. And I do not want to sell my stock to you. So it looks like I'm not even going to be able to get to purchase that. So let me just try raising this way up. See if that helps. I'm going to raise it up to $50 a share. Now I got them. I reject your offer at $50 a share and demand $85.72 a share. So you can see what's happened is these people that actually own stake in the company, and it's their shareholders, they're not willing to give this stuff up for cheap at all. She wants $85.72 a share, but the stock's only worth $19.71. It's going to cost me $6-something million. But there's an aspect here that we need to remember, and that's that if I get 5%, that keeps me at 51%. And anything over 50%, I own the company. Essentially, it's like I now take control. It becomes part. So I'm going to just show how that works. I'm going to make this offer. They don't want to sell it. I raise it up. And actually, let me try Tracy Bonds. Maybe she won't be as stingy. We'll try to greedy, I should say. I'm going to offer $39. Still not enough to even get them to consider it. It looks like I just did get it. I just took control, so I guess I did grab that. I'm not sure how that happened. I didn't think I got it. But I actually now have control over this company. I'm the primary shareholders. Everything they have, everything they own, all their assets now are part of my company. And so I could go ahead and start buying out more, offer more. And actually, they don't really merge with my company until we get to 75%, is I believe what it is. So I would have to buy out 75%. So let me try going higher with an offer here. Make that offer. Still not enough. Oh, wait, I need to be on here. I was trying to use another person's money to buy the shares. Go ahead and get it all up here to like 43. Okay, so I reject your offer, demand 101. That's a lot of money, $7.5 million. But I'm doing this to more show it. How this works. So I actually purchased that, and now I've got 56% of the company. I can keep just buying, eventually purchase this company completely out, and it would be merged. I think I have to get to 75%. But you get the idea. Now my company is owned. I only own 50% of it, and these people own all kinds of shares of it. So because when I launched, that's how I got that 100 million. The way the $100 million in cash came about was I had half of that, and you can see my stock value there, 99,255. Half of it was in, I gave up half the company in order to get the shares, but I don't like that. I want to buy and make an offer. So if I make an offer, they want $36.33 a share. So it's almost, that's a lot more money than what it's at now. It's at $19.85. So let's just say forget it. And I'm going to show like kind of an example of how you can, if you so choose, manipulate the stock price, just like in the real world. I'm going to go here to my firms, to one of my firms here. Just click on this one. And notice this advertising, I'm spending $100,000 a month. But what if I were to spend $500,000 a month and all this on training? And I was to go to my next uh, department store here and spend $500,000 a month on training there as well. And in addition, while we're doing this, um, excessive expenditures, let's go ahead and spend some money on a manufacturing operation to start actually making some of our own products. So now we're going to get away from department store, go actually into making stuff and manufacturing goods. We could build a chemical mine and silver. We could get a lot of things, but let's go ahead and start just a factory. Now for factories, we can build them out here. I'm going to go ahead and click factory to build a factory, and we'll build medium factories. I think these are just different in appearance. They don't really change functionality. It's just to give different looks. I'm going to pick a medium factory, and notice how if I build this medium factory here, the land cost is almost 10 million. But if I go way out here, at some point, it's only 7 million, and it doesn't get any cheaper. So 7.2 million looks to be the cheapest. So you see, I have to start paying a little bit as I get closer to the city. But at some point, it drops 7.2 million. So this is basically as cheap as factory's going to get. I'm going to go ahead and put it next to this gold mine. I wonder if I have enough money to start making jewelry. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and click build the factory. And one of the cool things about these factories, if I click this plus now, it's going to let me pick a layout to build a particular product, and I can click on this. This is a really handy thing they've added in Capitalism Lab. It says only show the layouts when all inputs available. So it means that I'm seeing these 54 plans are plans in which I can obtain all of the required um, sub-products. They're all available. They used not to have that, and you'd have to go and figure out, okay, I have chemicals, I have plastic, and now I can make cold pills. But before I actually build anything in this factory, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to show you the product manufacturer's guide. So this, when you go down here in this big long list of stuff, we kind of look down a little bit. You have this manufacturer's guide. The manufacturer guide is kind of important because it tells you what you need to build things. So say I wanted to have for an output bread, what would that take? Well, I have to have flour to make bread. So it's pretty simple. But what do I have to make flour? I can click on flour and see that I need wheat to make flour. And if I click on wheat, nothing happens because wheat's the very bottom product. Now let's look at like a car. Do we have car? Yeah, car. Now a car is the output. In order to build the car, I have to have a car body, a car engine, or an engine, and what wheels and tires. But if I click on wheel and tire, I can see that I need rubber and steel. If I click on steel, I can see that I need iron ore and coal. So these are how you can determine the dependencies of what you want. And you can go down here to, like, for example, drug class and see for cold pills, look at all the things that I can get that are part of the drug class, for example. So it basically, this manufacturer guide, if I have chemicals, I have corn syrup, I have plastic, I can make cough syrup. That's what it tells me. And that the production technology is 83% of the quality outcome of that cough syrup, and the raw material is only 17%. So it's not important that I get great chemicals, great corn syrup, or great plastic. What's important is I have really good production technology. And this just says that it has been invented and that I can make this. So that's just the manufacturer's guide. It's definitely useful to review and to get an understanding of what it takes to build things. And it used to be the only way you'd ever figure out what the heck's going on. But now it's a little easier. I can click factory, click my factory, and I can hit plus, and I can say, hey, give me the only things that have inputs for. And since there's not a lot of market competition, I can pretty much build anything I want. But let's see what I can build here. And I'm looking at the output here. I don't really want to output plastic. That doesn't sound like anything. But ooh, I could make toy race cars. I could make engines and perfume in the same factory. So I could have glass and steel to make the engines, and then the chemicals in the glass make the perfume. Seems like a silly combination. I could have car bodies, but let's go ahead and make these gold rings. And part of my purpose for that is I know that there's this gold mine right here. So right now I can purchase the gold, manufacture that gold, into gold rings, and then sell the rings. But later I can actually build a mine here, and then you know push gold into this factory, and then make even more money because I won't have to purchase the gold. I can mine the gold myself. Now you can see there's a whole layout already here for me, but I don't have to use this. I'm going to actually build the factory from scratch so you can just see how this would work. I'm going to purchase and link up the gold. So I could find it right here by just going down. And this has all the raw materials that you could get. I'm going to get that gold, and there's only one supplier. And I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And then I just need a sales department here to sell the. Oh, I don't want to sell the gold. What am I doing? I want to manufacture. So I need to create a manufacturing department, and it costs me 300,000. And I'm going to take and draw a line here from the purchasing of the gold into the manufacturing of the gold. And typically what I like to do is do top to bottom. So I shouldn't have, this probably should be just another purchasing department to purchase more gold. We'll purchase some more gold here. And we'll manufacture, and then we'll sell the gold. So we have some sales departments down here. So you can make the layout any way you want, and you just link them together and it'll follow it. So now we're starting to purchase the gold, and it takes time to supply it and get it in. And then this manufacturing department will then begin turning that gold into gold rings and then coming out here in the sale. And we just have to give it a little time to acquire the product and get it delivered and for everything to go. Oh, and I think I stopped the simulation. That's right. So we'll let the simulation tick on. We'll watch this purchasing come in. Now the blue is the actual inventory that comes in. Yellow is the supply, and orange is demand. So you can see these two bars here are the same as these two bars here. And what we would be watching for, now we're selling our gold rings, but notice that there's no department stores. No, we're not selling any. We have zero market share. It's just a factory making rings. Nobody is going to come to the factory and pick them up and buy them. And since none of the other competitors are selling them, we're just basically a factory making rings. So one of the things that we can do so that we're not just stuck holding these rings is we can make an inventory department. So you actually have an inventory department that we can take and push these rings in there. And probably this is a poor layout for that because so what a lot of times you might do is just go ahead and make this the inventory department. For example, this would be another manufacturing department. And so we have our manufacturing going here. We have that it'll feed inventory here, and then the inventory goes into sales, and we have another sales here, maybe like that. And so what the idea is that all of these manufacturing are feeding into inventory. Inventory feeds into sales. So this gives us a way to hold on to inventory and keep it while we're waiting to sell things. And the reason I'm not even going to bother building this purchasing department is that you'll notice that we have good utilization here. In other words, they're not even hitting their capacity yet. Our manufacturing, look at that. We've got almost full manufacturing in both these manufacturing departments are at max capacity. This one's at half capacity. and yet our purchasing departments, we could probably get by with one purchasing department. So how you lay this stuff out, a lot depends upon what the product is and how you would build it and so forth. So now we're probably, if we look here, what's happened, I don't know if we can get there from there, but we can get there from here. We still haven't really seen an impact on our stock market because we just haven't had that much time go by. So I'm going to actually speed things up just a little bit. And what we're going to see happening is we have this factory here operating, not making money. And we also have, we're spending a ton on advertising. Let's go ahead and build one more factory to build a couple more factories even to build a couple more products. I'm going to show you how fast this can be in this new way. I click only the ones that we have layouts for, and we can make toothpaste, toilet cleaner, and shampoo all in this one factory. So this one factory is going to purchase plastic and chemicals. Basically, it's going to feed them into these manufacturing departments because that's all toothpaste, toilet cleaner, and shampoo take is plastic and chemicals. And then we just sell them out. Selling shampoo here, selling toilet cleaner here, and selling toothpaste here. So this is one factory that's going to build all three of these things. In fact, this is a lot of times good for a large factory because this factory is immediately going to kind of get swamped, but it'll work. We can just build another factory. So we'll hit use, and it'll say set it all up for us automatically. We hit yes, and so we don't have to build this manually. It's going to go now. Get the purchase for the plastic. It's going to go and source the chemicals, and it's going to source more plastic. It's going to start manufacturing them, and we'll start seeing them show up here as outputs. Yep. So, whoop. Accidentally click manufacture. I don't know what I clicked there, but now you can see we're building these gold rings. Nobody's buying. We just started making toothpaste. Nobody's purchasing. Pretty soon we're going to be making toilet cleaner and shampoo. Nobody's buying. So that gives us 4 products. Nobody's buying them yet, but we'll sell them in our own department store. So let's go over here and find a place to build another department store because we're going to sell those 4 products. Retail store, department store. Find a good place. Spend some more money. We don't really have a problem really selling stuff. I like to kind of keep things grouped together. Are we in the other city? No, we're in the right city. Let me find our firm. There we are. Keep them all right here since they're selling all different products. I'm going to go and click it there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually wait just a little bit to load these in. And the reason is what I've kind of intentionally done is I've opened up 2 new factories, spent a lot of money there, invested a lot, spent a lot on advertising. What I've been doing is, if you look at this at the bottom, look at what's happened. Our profits are going down and down and down and down. It's getting lower. We're spending a lot of money to build these things, and it wasn't really bad expenditures. They're there for growth. But the way the simulation's working, it's impacting. It should be coming to impact our share price, but in some ways it really hasn't had time to take effect. And so what I'm going to do is we're just going to really drive this thing forward a little bit more. And what it comes down to is my sales are just really pretty strong in these 2 department stores, and they're offsetting. They're so strong. They're actually offsetting the profitability, even with all this advertising and all this training. It's hard to really tank the price. It's stalled it, but it hasn't really tanked it yet. I'd have to get pretty crazy. Like I could build maybe another factory or 2. Build another factory. Actually, do I have enough to build that gold mine? If I could build that gold mine, maybe borrow the money to build that gold mine. Okay, so here's a trick: is I want to find that factory here, and we're going to see that the gold mine is going to cost us $31 million for the land. Let's see what we can borrow. What a better way to click F for finance. I'm going to go down to financial actions. My credit limit's 100 million. Oh, I can borrow a ton of money. Yeah, let's borrow like, $70 million or so. Borrow that. And now we got, a lot of cash. And let's build this mine here. So we're going to go ahead. We got retail stores, natural resources firm. Huh, they call that a firm? Logging camp mine oil well. We want to mine. We're going to put the mine here. And in our mine, we're going to mine gold and sell it. So when I clicked that, it knew that we had to have gold. So it made a mining unit and it's selling that gold. Now, what we want to do now is go to our gold supplier here where we're purchasing this gold, and we want to link it to us. We don't want to buy it from those guys anymore. So we just go here and change these links over to purchase our gold. So you can see how you pick your supplier. We're going to pick gold. Let's just make sure we got it linked right. It is us. Yeah, that's right. That's our color. It is us. So we are our own supplier now for our gold in the factory. We just purchased a gold mine and a mining unit here, and it's going to be pumping that out. And you can see that there's actually is a finite amount in this mine, and then at some point it'll run dry, but then another mine will pop up somewhere randomly, and then you'll have to fight over that. Because one of the things about these resources, if you're in a competitive game, whether it's multiplayer or whether it's single player, whatever it is, people are going to be going after these resources. Another thing we could do is, you notice that we got plastic here, and a very easy thing that we can do is start making plastic from oil. So now the land cost from this is 119 million, and it's largely because it must be the size of the reserves there. So we're not going to probably be able to afford that even if we took out another loan. But let's see if we've had any impact on our stop price. Just keeps going up and up and up and up. It doesn't matter how much I guess we are spending in operating costs there. So I mean, if I wanted to, I could obviously start lowering prices, or tank the stock even more purposefully. But maybe it's also too that I'm used to capitalism too, where it was a little easier to manipulate things. Maybe investors are excited about my market share that's gonna be in these, because there's no way that these firms are profitable. They're not. Oh, but what I could do, here we go. Another thing is, I need to have this training cranked up in all these departments, in all these firms. This one it wouldn't matter. This one it will. Wait a sec. Oh yeah, that's the factory. That's the factory. So by increasing training costs, I'm just adding a lot of expense to the business. And so what I am going to do, since I have plenty of cash, let's open up a farm. And actually, let's see if there's any chemicals available. So one of the things that we can do here is, if you see this thing up here, land ownership and mineral nodes, it puts icons over where all these mineral nodes are. And the ones I'm looking for is this this chemical minerals. I saw it there. 86 million. Ooh, that's expensive. Let's see if I can borrow that much. It's going to be close probably. Oh, I can. So we're going to go into debt. It's just a game, right? We can afford it. Borrow. So we're getting where our credit, we got 607,000 a month interest. We've borrowed a lot of money. We're going to build a chemical mine here. So we say natural resources firm, mine here. And this time I'm going to do it the manual way. I'm going to hit mining, and it's going to automatically say mining chemicals. And then I'm just going to go here. I'm going to put the sales unit here just for the heck of it, just so you can see. And so now it doesn't really matter what you do, but now I'm selling minerals, and nobody's buying them yet. But remember, I've got a factory up here. that uses minerals all the time. So I might as well link this now to me. Now, one of the things that I am doing by doing this is I'm probably making the computer thinking I'm making profits out of these, out of like the gold and out of the minerals a little bit, just because um, these firms are going to show profits in that they're taking raw out of the ground and then selling them, and so temporarily you have uh, a net, a little bit of a profit here, but this has to buy them at a higher price, so then that gets offset and flushed through. But it's still showing, revenue. This is still revenue because I'm selling out of here. So now we've kind of optimized our factories, so the chemicals we buy are chemicals, once it runs through the ones that are already there. This is basically, notice how that there's no brown here at all. That these factories are basically dead in the water. They're not doing anything. There's no utilization because there's nothing to utilize. Our stock probably continues to climb. Yeah, and it's something that we're just extremely profitable in these department stores right here. So what I was really trying to do was crash that stop price, and it makes me determined to do so, just to show you how that would work if you really wanted to do it. And one simple way is either just to overprice or underprice everything ridiculously. So if I go here and I price the cookies at let's say, I wonder what that does. 660. It's still, we are still so much better than um, their cookies that we still, even at $6.60. I didn't notice that they're charging $5. So if we charge enough, at some point, what we start to do is we just start to kill the demand for our product, and that's part of the simulation, is figuring out where is that point. One of my pet peeves, and I'd say as a review, is it can be very tedious when you have to make big changes here. So we're charging $9.80 for that. And if let's go the opposite way with this one, just to show how it really doesn't matter whether you go high or low. What you're just basically doing is you're making the firm unprofitable intentionally. And with frozen beef, let's price this one too high. And theirs was at 360. So again, I think what we were basically never going to have a real push downward on stocks, as long as these firms were just so extremely profitable. I was spending a lot of money, but that's not going to be enough when you've got so much advantages, so making so much money out of these firms. So I'm just going to probably try to tank one of them. And notice how my overall rating now, negative 39, negative 13. Now notice how our overall rating is super high here, so people are going to be buying the heck out of these eggs, but the cost plus the freight's 84, and we're selling them for 82, so we're selling them at a 2 cents loss. It's not making money. So it shows you how you can have a really, really high overall rating when we're crushing the ratings, but we're not going to be profitable with that, right? And if the simulation is working like it should, what we should start to see, let me put it on really fast forward, is some steady declines in our profitability, and let's see if it affected our share price. Wow, we're still at $62 a share. It makes you actually wonder if, wow, how much money are we making in this firm? Millions, to offset those costs. So we have to actually go then down into here and do the same thing. We're not going to be able to crash our stock price without pretty much forcing these department stores to be unprofitable for an extended period of time. We'll see if At some point you start to question the model. That actually we're just even with them, but we should be getting at a point now where it's just virtually impossible. Um, and who knows? Maybe that's what's happened is even though maybe going higher was a mistake because we're still probably selling some, and they're at such high profits, it's actually making us money. Um, and we are playing the simulation on the easiest possible level. So we're going to be paying like let's see, $10 for a can of corn. I should say we're just playing on such an easy level. We'll take this one down and sell these chocolate bars for like half what it cost us for them. So we're intentionally just really at this point crushing our what I would think any resemblance of profitability would be. Whoa, and it sure doesn't look like it. It probably is a case of where even though they're priced so high, um, it's starting to come down. There it is. So it was like as you can see, I was able to tank the stock. I am tanking it somewhat. It's got a lot of volatility in it. Um, but I'm moving ahead so fast as part of it. So now um, there could be a lot of things happening, and you can see our profits are definitely dipping in the red. It's probably because we might have lost some supply shortages and things, um, and it's impacted our stock price, but not where I wanted it to. I wanted to really hammer it. So it's not necessarily a bad demonstration of where you could get in, because sometimes it seems to fluctuate quite a bit. It's coming down at times. If I look at it month to month, you can see it's got some fluctuations here and there, but overall it trends higher. Um, what I would say to that is that what it really basically means is it really what we want to do, because I'm determined now to show how this engine would work, uh, would be to come back into this and take everything back the other way. In other words, where you just price everything so you can see though we're losing a lot of profit down there. The profitability of the company, and it does say down here, your supply chemical was stopped and been automatically relinked. So we had this here, and I'm not sure why um, it got relinked. Maybe just didn't have enough to supply it from that one mining operation. But for uh, a company that's it's completely unprofitable, um, we're doing pretty well, and it's kind of surprising. But you can see our competitors when I fast forward a lot. Now we got competitors in the market. It's going to make things a little more challenging. We got quite a bit of cash, but I think that probably as far as a general overview of the game, this might be getting to a good place to stop. Um, and I'm going to stop messing around with trying to crash the stop prices. Instead, just kind of go over a little bit of what I might do. What I would have done is crash that stop price and then start buying my stock up so that I can at least have 100% ownership of my company. Because look at all the value that's locked up in my stock right here that other people own. They've invested in it, so it's going to make it challenging. Um, to continue trying to fight, to win when I could have purchased a lot more of the stock earlier on. But here's the thing. I've got a lot of cash and I'm ready now to go ahead and start selling these out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our retail store that's just been sitting vacant. We've just been leaving it sitting vacant in a hopes to crash stock price. But what we will do is try to buy as much stock as we can, at least with he wants 127 a share, so it's going to cost me just to get 5% more 56 million. I'm going to go ahead and do it though because it's a good investment. And I'm going to try to get another 5% maybe from this guy. He wants 58 million. We'll go ahead and grab it. And so now we're getting more share. We got 55% share now. We'll just stick with that. But we wanted to buy a little more, and we'd look for opportunities to buy our shares again. But let's go ahead and we're going to just say only us this time. So we're going to sell our shampoo in our own department store. We're going to sell our own rings. Those will make a lot of money. We're going to sell our own toilet cleaner. And we're going to sell our own toothpaste. We're going to advertise all of these because they all, I would think, have reasonable brand value. And we'll link the newspaper and we'll start training because we know we're going to sell a ton of them. So this is going to immediately make us more profitable. And what we'll do is we'll go to these we're going to automatically fix these department stores. We're going to try to. And we're going to do that by building a headquarters. So let's just build a headquarters. I don't think it has to be in any particular place. And in one of these, let's see which ones we need. I think if we get a chief operating officer's office, we can look for candidates. And notice now, here's a whole nother part of it where we can look for candidates and look into their expertise, what they know about. And you can get into really trying to find the right person to be this chief operating officer. I'm going to just pick one of these guys. Let's see what their expertise is in, if we have anybody. It doesn't look like we got anybody that has any experience yet. So, yeah, I guess these are characters, aggressive, independent investors, whatever. But let's go ahead and hire just this guy. And he wants $73 million a year to be our chief operating officer now. So I think that pricing policy, is what I was thinking I would give to him. So by having this guy in here, I think he's already in place. Yeah, he is going to be, I assume, creating a pricing policy either towards balance, maximizing profits, or market share. So we'll just say maximize market share for now. And look for better supplies, yes, from our own firms. Look for better products to sell in retail. So we're basically handing over control of a lot of the operations in this case. Now whether or not that's actually done anything, we want to go check. So let's go look at our department stores here and click on this. And sure enough, look at this. All of our stuff, I think, has been adjusted. Yep, it has been, because we went through and just mucked with this and really kind of butchered it. Instead, you'll see that we have 117 rating over 91, and in this case, it still hasn't changed too much, but we can maybe expect to see him now that we have a COO in there adjusting these. And you can see that in this case, look how closely it's tracking overall quality. And some of the reasons maybe why this one's not doing so well is the fact that they don't want it to be perfect. We've hired a guy, he's random, he has no experience. So that's part of it. But we can look now at our firms and see that in the retail markets that he's like basically pricing things for us, and we don't have to do that now. We've hired a COO to do that, and we can see our profits are still tanking, and part of the reason for that is that we're just spending so much on all that training. Let's go ahead then and I think I want to make sure I'm covering as many aspects of the game itself as possible. So we did see how we made mines, and we saw how we made, turn that into manufacturing. Let's try to manufacture something, just one more, or actually, let's look at the R&D center. So if I click R&D and make one of those, I don't know that there's even any reason for layouts for these, but because what you basically do is you pick research and development units. I can put 3 of them next to each other, and you just build them up. And if I link the 3 together, that means that they're going to all work simultaneously on either R&D, a new project, or making better technology in our existing products. So let's do a new product. There's only a few levels. It says like if we went to research a portable media player, it's going to take 6.25 years, 12.5 years for smartphone, or 12.5 years for tablet. Let's go ahead and just do the portable media player for the heck of it. And you'll see now that we're going to, in 6.25 years, we will be the ones to invent this product. Now we can do another set of research and development down here. And let's do tech. And maybe I know we're selling cameras, so let's go ahead and do cameras. And we can pick how it shows us how much tech advantage we expect to get and how many years we do it for. So you can see we get a little more benefit, if we do it for more years. So like if you do it for 1 year, you get a lot more benefit really than if you do it for 6 months. And if you do it for 2 years, then you're getting a little more. So you have to kind of decide, and you can see that they take you up to 10 years there. So let's go ahead and do this for a year, and then we'll do one more, and we'll just do one. So now if I said, see what was some of the other things we were doing. We're doing. You can see all the stuff here that we have. What were some of the other things we were selling? I know we were selling. We're gold rings. So we can do that as well. So let's just do that. So you get the idea, and it's showing here. There's like this little handy, summary that shows you the R&D that goes on. So now, what should I be doing my R&D on? Well, that takes us back to the products here and looking at the manufacturer's guide. And actually, yeah, look at that, and I think actually we want to look at more just the product by itself. I guess we have to look at the product detail. And what we want to do is look at where the quality would be high. So frozen lamb is 43% as the quality. So actually spending tech on that. And oh, wait a second. It's in the manufacturing. I was wrong. It is the manufacturing. Here it is. Raw material or production tech. So the research and development is going to impact production tech right here. And then obviously, if you're in a factory that's producing a raw material, then that production tech's going to matter. So if I go to textiles here, I can see the production tech is 50%. If I go to leather, it's 50%. It looks like a lot of them are using 50. Oh, that one's using 60. So sports shoes, the production tech's a little important than the material quality. If I go here for air conditioners, it's 80% production tech. So if we're selling air conditioners, we want to be spending money on tech. If I look at the electronic components themselves, I can see they're 70% of the technology. So we would want to research in electronic components. It's really pretty much, I think that's a new thing in Capitalism Lab, is you actually have real estate where you can buy land, build real estate holdings, all that. I don't even know that much about it. That'd be something maybe we'd explore later. But I think this kind of covers the basic of the aspects of simulation. You can see now that like in chewing gum, for example, we don't even have really any market share to speak of. It's owned by Capital Corporation and Clover Swift, and we can see here how they're doing. And if I click on a particular corporation, now we actually can get some interesting things about them. If I click on Clover Swill, we can see that they've got 2 department stores, a headquarters, 2 factories, 2 research labs, and a farm. Their stock price is at $728 a share. So you can see in a lot of ways we did really depress our stock price because we're I don't think we're only at $84 a share. So we haven't been playing particularly competitively, but you can see by fast forwarding and not building up a lot, we've certainly fallen behind here compared to Clover, which actually we still own, I believe, quite a bit of, I would imagine. So what I might come down here and do is go look at Clover again. Look at our stock value in that. We have $612 million in Clover. So the fact that we invested all that money in them, um, that's actually proven to be very valuable for us because we own this. And that $617 million, that's on our books. So if I go and look at the corporation, our annual revenue is only 112 million. Our cash is only this. And if I look at our actual balance sheet, we don't we don't have anywhere, wouldn't have anywhere near that value, except for the fact that look at this, 487 million. That's our stocks. That's where the value becomes. So what we might want to do is look at still trying to, we want to take and eventually acquire the rest of these shares, and it'd take time. Like if I hit offer, I've only got 34 million in cash, so we've never really recovered from the profitability loss because these factories aren't probably making very much money. And so what we can do is go here and see, where are we hurting at. And I could go to our corporate details and look at our products, or I'm sorry, our firms is probably the best, and make sure we're just looking at ours. And I can go down here and see lifetime profit. Look at this, $64 million of loss in this firm. And so what firm is that? That's our gold mine is losing that much money because we're not having anyone else buy it, and it's only supplying one factory that's making gold rings, and we're only selling those gold rings out of one factory. So, and if you see this, we can see that the supply out of this factory is far, far, far exceeding the demand. But if we go to our retail store here, and probably one of the easiest is just to cycle through it like this. So yeah, a retail store here. You'll see that we're not able to keep up with demand. So what that means is what we could go over here to this other city, drop down a retail store here, and when we go to our products, we want to only add our own. And notice how it says current city. We want to say all cities. And we're going to import these rings. And now you'll notice that look at the freight cost plus freight. Well, let's see where purchasing we need to see. $6.20. So it's not too bad, even though it's coming from another country. But watch this. If I do that with a bed, purchasing it from across the seas, $81. So we still probably make money on it, but it's probably not the best thing to sell in this market or overseas. So we want to say current city, seaports, and we could start rounding this out, or we could source, and it makes sense to source our shampoo. It makes sense to source our toilet cleaner and our toothpaste. So we're not going to do these beds. Notice how I can go down here to the purchase of the bed and actually link this to toothpaste. And now we're purchasing toothpaste, but we're still selling beds. And why is that? As we still haven't sold all these beds. They're still in stock. So what we can just do is clear stock here. And now that'll empty this sales unit out. And in a little bit of time, once they get switched over, then they'll be selling toothpaste. Now, what you might notice, and something to keep in mind, is our brand is at 0. You have to develop your brand in every city as part of the simulation. So I'm going to advertise, link the media, and the media is all different here. So you'll have to kind of figure out, in this one, it doesn't look like there's that much difference between them. They're all pretty close. But this one's clearly the better deal because it's got the highest rating points, it's a TV station, and it's got the lowest advertising cost. And so we can hook these puppies up. And now we're selling our products in another city, increasing, obviously our demand. Let's go ahead and drop another retail store in this city. And in this case, we'll just say seaports from the current city. And we can just see here, okay, once a double click there, that we should maybe go after are the ones that don't have markets yet. So that'd be one strategy. Okay, nobody's selling detergent here, so let's sell detergent. And I can go down a little more. Nobody's selling ice cream, so let's sell ice cream. And nobody's selling wine, so we'll grab the wine up. So we've already filled 3 of the 4 where there's no competition, but that's all we can get to. But it looks like there's not a lot of competition for the Coke, so we'll take the Coke. And then what we'll just do is kind of look at that one a little closer than the rest. We'll go ahead and get some advertising going and link our media. And let's look at our Coca-Cola. Okay, we're definitely better than the city average, but are we better than our competitor? That might be a question that we'd want to check and look into. You can overlay a graph on top of this, by the way. So now we're getting more profitable. Part of the issue is that we've got all these firms that we've spent we're doing a lot of training in. So let's do this. We're going to actually try to explode our stop price now. So we're going to cut the training. We're going to watch our stop price really maybe start to go up. Problem is we got a lot of factories that are underutilized, so we're not going to make probably the kind of money we would otherwise. And then we can also do the same thing with advertising. Cut back on our advertising. So we're going to become we're basically working to become a more profitable company right now. Just to give you an idea how you do that. Cut the advertising or training, cut the training in our factories. That one I've already gotten. That one doesn't matter. We're not doing any there. There's still a ton of advertising in this one, so let's cut that back down. We'll still keep some. And I think we've pretty much covered them. So I'm just using this to go through my firms. If I wanted to look at the other firms, I can undo that. And I can see there's 187 firms, and I can actually just arrow through all of them here. It looks like some people are investing in real estate. But here's like this guy's department store, and I can see that we're competing with market share in this, frozen lamb market with him. This is really what's happening right here. So at this point, what's going to happen is now that I've kind of realigned things, it's kind of up to our CEO to price our products so that we're going to make the most money that we can. But what we could do is let the simulation run fast for a little bit, and we should start to see our profits climbing. And you'll see that down here. Look at how each month we're gonna start to see some gains here because we've cut our training costs, we've cut our advertising expenditures, and we're making some profitability. We're really starting to earn some money. Keeps going up. Now it's starting to level off, and just showed that our camera R&D is complete and our gold ring is complete. So we'd want to go there and change that because if we're spending R&D, those people are still working there, and so we want to go ahead and say it looks like they just start another year over. So they're just basically going to keep doing years at a time, and our tech will improve. So if we go and look at cameras in our stores now over here, what we should see is a tick up in quality because oh wait, no, we wouldn't actually unless we're making them. So we'd actually have to build cameras to see a tick up in quality. That's important to note that wouldn't be the case. So let's see what our stop price is doing. So our stock price went to 157 a share now, and Clover Swirl is really racing up in value. I'm gonna try to buy some of this out, so I can buy 5% there. I'm gonna buy. Let's see what happens here. Well, you have to actually they like get offended or something. So you have to like because and I don't have enough money. So I just like seriously don't have enough money to buy much anything of their stock price because it's so expensive. Like just 2.5% of that stock is $43 million. I don't have enough. I'd have to I'd have to work the game for longer than probably the purpose of this video. But you can see it's kind of a fun game that if I had played it a little more seriously, I'd be in a better position probably right now. But it's going to be remarkably easy. I'll do a follow up. You can consider this episode 1. I could do a follow up, and we'd be able to. Oh, you can zoom in real close. I didn't notice how close you could zoom in. But do a follow up and start actually taking take these competitors out, systematically go through, build up product lines, build up factories, and systematically outperform them and make so much money that I can buy them out. But I'm going to save that for a second episode because this is probably a good like kind of basic overview of capitalism, and I hope that it was informative to you who are think about getting the game. If you like business management sims or games that have involved simulations, it's a great game. But it also has some value if you're a business student or somebody who wants to understand stock markets, how they work, and what these values mean. All this stuff really means something in the game, and it's quite a fine simulation. So with that said, thanks for watching, and check out some of our other videos. Make sure to subscribe so it does give us incentive to keep making more of them. Thanks.